Everyone is talking about butterfly wefts right now, but does this viral method actually work behind the chair? So it's a sew-in style install without using thread, which is exactly why it's been blowing up all over social media. So today I'm trying it for the first time and I'm gonna figure it out live with you guys. I'll be sharing everything about the process and I'll be taking you through all of my honest thoughts as I go. And at the end, I'll be letting you know if I think that this method is actually worth the hype. We're covering sectioning, application, tips and tricks, aftercare, and this is also the first video of my new series on the biggest trending hair extension methods of 2026. So make sure you are subscribed. I'm Sam Hines and I've been in the hair extension industry for over 13 years. I've been educating for the past 5 and I will link my hair extension classes in the description down below. You can also find me on Instagram at xsamhair and on TikTok at extensionistla. And if you want more advanced education, I also have a members only section here on YouTube. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so this is a butterfly weft. You can see on this side, it almost looks like a taping extension, and the side that is exposed is going to be this, and it literally looks like it's growing out from your head. So the reason that it's called a butterfly weft is because it spreads open like this, and these are essentially like wings on a butterfly. So the whole premise is that you can install it using beads only and you're not going to use any thread. I feel like the reason that stylists gravitate towards this is because they don't know how to sew, they don't know how to anchor, they don't know how to do a blanket stitch. So it's a lot easier to go in with a bead. If you have been in the hair extension game for a long time, then you know what I'll be talking about when I refer to a no-sew weave or a no-sew weft. So in the UK, we used to call it an LA weave, and funnily enough, no one in LA knows what I'm talking about. But an LA weave in the UK is essentially a threadless weave where you are just using a bead to maneuver the natural hair and the extension hair and then bead and clamp into place. This is similar, but what you're going to do is you will hook and thread that hair through these little holes here, and then you'll put a bead to stop it from slipping out. So what we're going to do is we're just going to dive straight into the install, and immediately already I'm noticing a few things that I'm going to have to pivot. So let me guide you through that right now. So I've sectioned off my mannequin head exactly how I would do a usually like second row on my mannequin when I'm working with a Genius weft. The first thing that I noticed immediately when I held this up is it's definitely not as flexible as a Genius weft or even a hand tied. So when I'm putting it up like that, I feel like it's gonna buckle a little bit in that area there. So I feel like the best way to work with this would be to not do such exaggerated angles. I feel like to get the best out of this weft, you're probably gonna have to do it more straight like that. And then that way you're not gonna have that buckling happen. However, I like to take risks. So let's try it how I would actually do a weft install if I was doing a Genius weft and sewing it. So I'm gonna have it like this, and I feel like I'm gonna have to really make a conscious effort to have it nice and taut. So how I see other people do it online is they'll go in, they'll separate the weft and they'll hold it up against their foundation, and then they'll go in with like a little hook and they will feed all of that hair through these little holes. The reason that I'm not loving that is because I feel like you're going to get a lot of crosshairs. You can't truly control that subsection when you're doing it like that. So you're going to get crosshairs, you're going to get uneven tension, you might even create some hot spots in there. Again, I could be wrong. This is just me looking at it from experiences that I've had before. So I feel like a better way to install the butterfly weft than what I'm seeing online is to try and map out your foundation first and then go in with the butterfly weft and feed through that foundation that you've already mapped out through those little holes. So let's give that a go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just figure out how big those little sections are between each other, and then now I'll go in and map out that foundation. So let's try that now. So I'm going to just start off like exactly how I usually do a weft install, and then I will keep my section sizes a little bit smaller because I'm trying to mimic what I see on that butterfly weft. So let's make these small, and this is a foundation that you'll see me using all the time within my weft installs. All right, so I have carved out all of my section in. Now what I'm going to do is I'll take my weft and I'll just make sure that it's balanced both sides. Got my butterfly weft, let me just measure it from this side, going down and round. Perfect. Perfect both sides. So now I'm ready to go in and test out my little butterfly weft install experiment. I think it's going to work. My husband doesn't think it's going to work, but I think it's going to work. So I've taken my weft now, and what I'll do is I'm going to mark out those first 5 holes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's going to be here, and then I will pin that up. So now you will have to take out the bead for now. So I'll just take out the bead for now. And let's take my looper tool and I'll go in through there, through that hole, and I'm just going to guide that piece of hair through that first hole. There we go. So that's my first one. I'll just secure it with that clip, because what you'll notice with your butterfly weft is you don't have to do a bead every single pocket. Usually you can loop in like 2 or 3 pockets of hair or sections of hair. So now let's take this second one here, unclamp that bead, and then now with my looper tool I'm just gonna guide that up through there and then again through this here. And then you can do one more here. I feel like because it's the anchors, you again have to be really careful that they're nice and tight. So let me do 2 at that anchoring point. So I'll just clip that there to secure. Make sure I've got these nice and tight. Put a bead on here. And I'm just gonna take my 2 pieces of hair here, slide my bead up. Okay, first problem. My bead is too small, so that hair is too thick. Maybe if I was to use a bigger bead, you'd be okay to do that. So let me just do 1 at a time then. Let me shuffle this. I want to make sure it's nice and tight and taut. And then that'll be my first. Let's take another one here. So that's how it's looking so far. Looking nice. Let's do my next pocket. Okay, on this one where it's a little bit wider, let me split that in 2. And then again here. I feel like an easier way to do this would be to mark out your subsection and then you wouldn't have to bead. That would be quicker. So instead of going through the effort of what I just did, don't bead, just do your subsection first. So then you can do your subsection first. You can put the weft underneath the subsection and then kind of just like pull through. That would have been easier, Sam. That would have been a lot easier. It's all right, we're here now. I just wanted to make it as comfortable as possible. So now that I've got my anchoring beads, I feel like the quickest way is just to feed your looper tool up and pull them through a few at a time, and then you can go back in and bead everything. That way you're able to work a little bit quickly. So I'll show you what I mean. So I didn't bead that part there. I just fed it through and then I'll go back in and bead it later. So as long as you're finding out where your bead art is and where you need to be pulling it through, then you can just do that, pull it through like that, and then you can just come back to these areas later. So I'll come back to them later. We're learning, guys. I'm learning with you. I'm figuring out how to do it quicker. I think I wasted a lot of time to do the beaded foundation first. I feel like I could have just carved out the subsection and it would have done the same thing. It's just because I've never worked with it before. I wanted to make sure it was like really, really nice and clean. But now I'm definitely seeing how this method could be super, super quick once you kind of like get to grips with the best way to do it. So let me do one more. It's definitely starting to slip a little bit. So let me just do one more here and then I'll go in and bead that all down. Okay, so I've got those few now. So let me flip that weft up, clip that out of the way, turn her around so you can see. So I'll do 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 beads here. There we go. That was easy. I feel like we're working quicker now. Very good. I feel like I'm getting the hang of it now, and already I'm seeing for next time what I would tweak, what I would change. One of the things for sure that's going to make or break this install is your initial sectioning, because already I'm seeing that where my sectioning is so exaggerated, like how I always do it with a Genius or a hand tied, this definitely doesn't have that same flexibility. So for that reason, I can see that it's starting to ripple. So as that client wears it, it's going to start to ripple as it grows out, because I can already see that within this. And that could also be down to like uneven tension, but I feel like it's definitely more so down to the fact that it can't be stretched and maneuvered the same way that I would do a Genius or a hand tie, because that spine of the weft just doesn't offer that same flexibility, which is fine. I know that now, and I already kind of had an inkling when we were starting out that that might happen. But I do like how quick it is. It'll be interesting to install this on an actual person and see how it actually holds up as well, and what that grow out looks like. Because I feel like that's the testament to the install, and the technique is definitely going to be that grow out. And I'm going to be so honest with you guys, I'm sure once I get better at this and kind of understand how I can make it quicker, then it will be quicker. But right now I feel like I could just as easily sew in a full row, and it would take me just as long as it is to do this. I've seen it online on like TikTok where they're like, oh, you know, 15 minutes. And I'm sure once you kind of get more comfortable with it, it will take 15 minutes. But for now, this has taken me just as long as it would do if I was to sew in a Genius or a hand tied or a flex or a volume. Just something to bear in mind when you're starting out. It's probably not going to take you 15 minutes. All right, we are nearly there. Let's do these last sections. I reckon I can power through this all at once. Next time I do this, I'm not going to waste time beading first. I'm just going to have that subsection carved out, clipped up out the way, and then just go in with my looper tool bit by bit. So let me show you now what I would do next time. So essentially what I would do is, for next time, I'll have this all pinned up like this. And then I'm going to have all of these flipped and no beads. So you would just have it. You would just have your subsection like that, essentially. And then you would just go in with your looper tool and just take the hair that you want. That way you're not wasting time beading. I feel like this would be a lot more quicker and efficient for the next time that I do it. I won't waste time beading next time first. I'll leave the beads till the very end, and I'll just take the hair as I need it, lining up to that bead, lining up to that little hole here. That way you can see it is so much quicker. And then you wouldn't have wasted all that time at the start like I did beading. Then you can just adjust your clip like that, just to keep it in place until you've finished. Much easier. Make sure that's nice and clean. Still making sure that my subsection and my section is still clean. And then let's do our final one here. All right, perfect. Much quicker. So now I can just flip up this bit here and then go in with my beads. And I'm doing a bead for every 2 holes. That's like my thing now, because I don't want to over direct the hair. So a bead every 2 holes is perfect. Otherwise I feel like you're going to be over directing that hair, which is not good. Still making sure everything is nice and clean. Sliding it up. Right, happy with that. And now let's do those last few. And then here, I'll take 2 here, and then the same way that I started where I just did the singular. Feel like I still like that idea because it really makes sure that you're not over directing that corner and keeping it really nice and flat and flush. So I'll do 2 here, and then I'll do 1 final bead there. And then I'll do 1 here. And if you're ever worried about slipping, you can always double bead your anchors as well. Okay, let's see how that looks. Okay, first impressions. In certain spots like here, it looks really good. I am seeing that rippling happen here. And then here looks pretty good as well. I feel like that's just the problem area. Let's see how it looks flipped up. Not bad. Not bad at all, actually. Okay, so here flipped up. Again, it looks really, really nice. I don't love how it looks here. Again, it's just that rippling. So I think now to avoid that rippling, what I would have to do is just make sure that that section isn't as exaggerated. And then I feel like I would avoid that rippling from happening. Okay, all in all, I rate this like a 6 out of 10. Maybe I'll love it more. I'm gonna try it again, and I'm gonna try it again without beading first and doing that subsection, clipping it out the way, putting that weft under, and then looping it through. I reckon that would work out quicker. So another thing that I would change again is that sectioning. So I feel like if I changed that foundation and just did the subsection first, and then if I changed the actual sectioning, then I feel like I might love it a little bit more. So if you are someone that doesn't know how to sew, but you still want to give wefts a go, then definitely do. The reason that people might prefer it to something like a tape weft is because you don't have that adhesive, so you're still using the bead. One little thing that I think might be problematic as it grows out is these little corners. However, if you wanted to, you could just cut off that excess weft. That way you're not going to have that flapping happen. But yeah, let me know if you decide to give this a try, and also what you think of this butterfly weft method. All right, so that was my first time installing butterfly wefts live, figuring it out, giving you my honest opinion of whether this viral method is actually worth the hype. And like I said, I would say right now 6 out of 10. If you enjoyed this video, make sure that you're subscribed, because this is just the first part of my new 2026 hair extension series, where I will be testing and breaking down the biggest trending methods this year. If you want to master the art of hair extensions, what I'm going to do is leave the link to my in-person hair extension classes in the description below. I travel all over the US, and you can also find me on Instagram, xsamhair, TikTok @extensionistla. And again, if you want that more advanced education but can't come to an in-person class, I have a members only section here on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and don't forget to leave me a comment down below your rating out of 10 of the butterfly weft, and if you have tried it. Bye guys, I'll see you in the next one.